First of all, thank you. I know it's a Friday. It's a Friday afternoon and evening for some. So very good afternoon and evening, depending on where you're coming from. Welcome to the second episode of the Retail EngAIge, our Fireside Chat. So a brief intro of this event for those who missed the first episode. The idea is to bring together industry and domain experts to have a rather informal or a candid conversation on the current state of affairs. And we're talking about retail here. So don't expect a lot of theory. What you can expect is a lot of experience and anecdotes from the rich expertise and experience of the people on the panel today. And today's topic may seem obvious to some, debatable to others. So the topic is physical retail dying? So to talk about each of their unique perspectives, we have today with us Naresh Teckchandani, General Manager of IT at Forever New. So our association with Naresh extends back to 2020. He was the head of store technology at Kmart Australia when we were deploying our platform across all their stores there. And with 25 plus years in the retail domain, 14 of which were at Kmart alone, Naresh's perspective and expertise will be interesting to hear. We also have the always energetic Saravana, whom you may have seen on our previous episode. He's a crucial bridge between the startup and the enterprise worlds. He has been an entrepreneur himself. He is now also a strategic advisor to a select bouquet of startups. And he has been associated with the Future Group and Kmart Australia in the past, driving innovation project at both the retail giants, I should say. And finally, we have Pavan Panchamukhi, founder and CEO of RDEP. He's a serial entrepreneur, more than 2 decades of experience in the retail domain. And he has an understanding of both sides of the retail, lies in understanding of the retail domain and building solutioning for the challenges faced by retail over the years. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get started with today's fireside chat. And maybe I can kickstart with the first question that I've been wanting to know. Why is there a perception of the decline of physical retail, and is that valid? Naresh, maybe you can start us off.
Sure. Thanks, Saga, for a good intro. And I'm very pleased to be between you all. You can see me, I'm a little bit different. I'm wearing a jumper. It's a bit cold here, still in winter in the lovely city of Melbourne in Australia. So I think your question, Saga, the perception that physical retail is declining, I think it stems more from the growth that we are seeing in the other channels, like especially e-commerce, right? Where certainly this channel, certainly we saw exploration, especially with the COVID, that we are all well locked and we were doing social distancing, as we all would remember. So certainly the uptake in that online channel has gone significantly higher from that perspective. When you look at it as an online channel, it certainly does offer convenience to us, the variety, and I think you can probably shop around for better bargains as well. This certainly is favoring consumers over the traditional brick and mortar stores that we've been seeing. But in saying, is physical retail dying? I don't think so. I think with times it is evolving, it is changing, and changing with time is very necessary for any business, right? In whatever we do. So I feel the physical stores are adopting more the online world and the physical world, and giving that experience to the customers, where customers really want to come and have that social experience in those stores, have that tactile feeling of being able to touch product, try. So no, it's far from dying. I think people are just a bit wary of more how tech is playing a part in it, and no doubt they're enjoying that experience being in the physical stores as well. So it may also be coming. One of the other things that I look at, the other economic pressures that we all have got, right? So obviously with rentals rising, costs going up around us, a shift, especially with that 3-year period that we were all locked. All of a sudden, people want to escape. They want to spend that same money that they had saved up. They're probably spending in some other pockets, probably traveling more. And we certainly have seen that there is a surge in travel. So I would be far from saying that physical retail is dying. In fact, it is becoming more customer centric. It is bringing in many other ways of being able to shop, and which I'm sure will dwell into a bit more. So no, I don't think it's dying. So yeah, that's my view.
Yeah. Yeah. Saravana, you want to take that
Yeah, the
call?
problem with birds of the same feather, quite a lot of insights are pretty much copy paste. But before I get started, thank you, Pavan, Sagar, for inviting me over. And thanks to the entire audience who are spending Friday afternoon with us, be it the early afternoon or the late afternoon. Naresh, as always, lovely to be part of a conversation with you. Um, I mean, I absolutely agree to Naresh's point. COVID was probably a wake-up call for all of us, right? Somewhere I had written, right, necessity is the mother of invention. Crisis is the mother of innovation. So a lot of innovation got accelerated, and not just from the retail business standpoint, as an individual standpoint also, we had to change the way we looked at retail. Retail is as essential. At the same time, how do we take care of this essential way of life? So that was an aha moment, though it came to us as a nasty surprise. Before I go into it, by default, is physical retail dying? Absolutely no. In fact, it has figured out. In fact, the physical retail had a wonderful full body checkup. The diagnosis happened. It realized it needs extra vitamins. In fact, it is now taken a gym membership and looking at becoming getting its six pack. Actually, that's my point. Also, I just wanted to add some more nuances in this part of it. As Naresh rightly mentioned, COVID and its aftermath. What we also saw was there was this bit of revenge shopping that happened. And whatever I hear, and probably personally also I'm feeling, is now it is the new normal. Post COVID, there was just a new normal. Now it's a new normal in the sense that, okay, there is this finiteness of life that has been defined, but after that, there is also this, we have to plan a little bit further. So couple of interesting things have happened. Quick commerce has absolutely gotten into the way of life, more so in India, I would say. And it is an interesting trend in itself, right? It's 6 minutes delivery right now. It's not even 10 minutes delivery right now. The dark stores are coming closer and closer home. Most likely the next dark store would be at the entrance of the elevator that where we live. Actually, that's how closer the dark stores are coming in. That is another important trend, actually. On the other side, probably it is good as well. If I were to talk about the startup industry, the e-commerce, which was like pay it forward or burn until you make money, so where there is a profitability as a lens has come into play. A lot of consolidation is happening. Again, that is influencing e-commerce and the physical store. As you might all have noticed, what started as an e-commerce only brands, and now they are also having this stores of their own setup. So it is, in fact, the physical retail is increasing, but in its own different journey, so to say. Before
Absolutely.
I continue on this, the consumer lens, I just wanted to tell on a little lighter way. COVID was a wake up call, and this made consumers into three segments, according to me. And earlier, it was all a little hazy version of who is a consumer. I would call these: the first one is a lazy shopper, second one is a nosy shopper, and the third one is a crazy shopper. Earlier, we, at least I was all three actually. Probably I'm trying to figure out who I am. A lazy shopper has figured out all I want is this product. Give me convenience, probably a high level value. The nosy shopper, the value variety focus has been there. So he or she is able to figure that out. And the crazy shopper, who also probably used COVID as a philosophical way, is looking at the aspiration, okay, life is like this and all. Personalization has happened into play, and hence physical retail is relevant ever so, more so ever, I would say. I will
Absolutely.
pause here, but
Yeah, yeah.
Pavan.
Yeah, I think, both of you have said, and I don't think I even would want to disagree. We are in that space where we work with offline retailers, so there is no way I can even think of the offline retail dying. But I think the two countries we are now representing here in Australia and India, both have, I think, about 10% of the retail is online. The rest, 90% is still offline. So I think that figure itself, says a lot as to, what this means. So it's basically just a perception. I think the perception happened only because of the COVID, as everyone mentioned. Uh, there's a lot of surge which happened in the online shopping, and people started using it because there was nothing else really to do. But as you rightly said, Saravana, it was a wake-up call. So we actually saw that happening. Even prior to COVID, a lot of retailers were trying to figure out, how do we keep ourselves relevant, over the next years, few years, because most of these retailers are legacy players. They have been there for a long time, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. So they have kind of exhausted their mechanisms of luring the customer to sell, to kind of make it attractive. So they were trying to figure it out, and COVID perhaps was like a accelerator in that process. And we saw how people wanted things now, and it happened. I mean, I think with Kmart, it just happened at the right time, and a lot of things happened at the right time. uh, that's when we kind of made an entry, and it happened with Future Group as well when we did it. So I think offline retail is definitely not dying, but it's thriving, of course, but it is also reinventing itself. It's trying to see what more can be done, how can we reach the customers. This is what we keep saying as a part of the RDEP. We keep telling people that the online retailer and the conventional traditional mom and pop store, they have something with them, where the structured retail, in spite of having everything, they were struggling, and they're still struggling. A lot of retailers are still struggling because they have not yet crossed that bridge. They're in between somewhere, and I think that's what I would want to really figure out and ask Naresh from the other side. I think the bridge between the online and the offline is the omni-channel. I mean, that's what they say. How do we kind of amalgamate? How do we kind of bring them together? And people have tried, people who were offline, they tried going online. People who were online, they tried setting up shops, as Saravana, you mentioned. But what is missing? Because even today, if you look at the customer experience, there's a lot which is missing. People go to a store, and people go to the same store's online site, and it's a completely different experience. So they're two different entities, two different experiences. So, would like to hear from you, Naresh, as in what a true omni-channel, the realistic, idealistic omni-channel really means.
Yeah, I think it is so true, isn't it? Today, for these physical stores to be relevant, I mean, they need to blur that line completely off, right? Online has certainly set an expectation of convenience and everything that goes with it, to the personalization. Oh, you shop this, and we can show you what products we can recommend you. So there's a lot that's going on. So I think that omni experience, customers are just demanding now. I mean, it's just becoming so very important, and customers are expecting. Where if you think traditional retail, it used to be based on product. Product would be at the center, and then everything else will be around it. Oh, I've got the best product, and then I've got my customer coming from here. I've got a customer coming from online channel. I've got a customer coming from X channel. That has actually changed completely. We have now put customer at the center. And you can imagine one of those wheels with spokes, where customers sitting at the center, and these spokes have become your channels, right? Various channels, the way they're interacting, and omnichannel is all about that. It's basically bringing that centralized customer experience, in every way, shape, or form, and giving that same experience across all these channels. So whether I'm shopping online and then going and returning in a store, or going and picking in a store, or I bought something in a physical store and I'm returning it online, right? So, you know me as a customer. I've given you the right for you to know me as a customer. Then give me that service, right? Don't hide behind my data that I've given you. Make use of it. Make me feel special. I think all that is
That's
becoming a lot more relevant now. The retailers are doing it well. They certainly are benefiting it. They don't even call that this is physical retail or this is digital retail. It is one retail. It is that
yes.
omni,
Yes.
the unicommerce as we talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where everybody is heading to. That's how I see it, Pawan.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, Saravana, you mentioned about this delivery happening in 6 minutes and 15 minutes. That's the trend today. I mean, especially,
Right.
I think India, that's what is happening. Uh, so, I think what Naresh said, it's the convenience, and I think we have Ramanan here talking about essential retail and experiential retail.
Exactly.
So there is a grocery shopping and there is a fashion and lifestyle shopping. Both are probably two different experiences altogether. Both have their own needs and requirements. So in this kind of a context, this context and this kind of a scenario where you're talking about a delivery which is happening in 6 minutes, and there are D2C players today who can't deliver even in 7 days, who can't deliver in 10 days. And how do you think this kind of a dichotomy, this kind of a thing can still exist even today? How are they going to even manage this?
And absolutely. I mean, interesting trends, right? On one
Yeah.
side, this super fast, and the other side, the world seems to, in fact, get dragged more and more on that, right? I think one of the key, as Naresh mentioned, product being the center of retail. So hence, some of them, as soon as it becomes commoditized, actually, and also in terms of volume, many trends keep changing. Personally, I believe, I mean, what is retail from a consumer standpoint is pretty simple. If I'm a retailer, I want to convert a non-customer to a new customer. Okay, new customer to make him a loyal customer. Him is a very generically used. Her a loyal customer. A loyal customer to high spend customer, and to borrow Naresh's word, I mean the anecdote out there, not just a high spend, but also ensure the service post purchase is also taken care, and eventually a high customer into a a net promoter to bring other customers out of it. And as you rightly mentioned, in these four steps out of it, what is the customer looking at, right, for this entire journey to happen? As I know, we are talking about experience versus the essential is one part of it. The other part is across channels, and that has become a huge value right now, right? I'm not the same. I mean, as we speak, for the lack to be transparent, I'm wearing shorts and doing this webinar with you all, and that's the world that has come to. So the convenience has become a huge deal. But over the weekend, I don't want to be at home. I want to go out, right? Not necessarily there are enough amusement parks. I mean, even in place like Bangalore, you want a place to park and probably do bunch of things. So I would go to the store out there. And D2C, again, there's an interesting trend, right? In this, profitability has become a big deal. Number one. Number two is customer data is very, very critical. The primary or the secondary data. In if the world were to be given a chance, or there was enough money to be poured into it, it would become Amazonization, Flipkartization, and then everything will be sold in this, right? And that's actually not a good trend according to us. So D2C rather says that I mean, can you be sticking to me as a customer? I will take care of this, but please bear with me that it will take a few days time out of it. And the channels also play a huge role. In fact,
Yes.
one of the channels I believe, and it is happening a lot, is the social commerce a lot. Right? And there as well, as you rightly mentioned, Pawan, the value proposition there is probably not cost or experience. It's the story and from the heart. So hence the
Absolutely.
channel is totally different altogether out there. And it all is like a beautiful amalgamation. The same product can be in three different channels. In fact, you can have a small little portfolio mix around it, but the story sells at the end of the day in these particular categories. And it's a beautiful trend out there.
True,
I
true.
am very excited it is getting democratized and not oligarchy or some cartel happening in
It
physical
is, it
retail.
is. But having said that, Naresh, the problem with the online retailers and the offline retailers also, because I know everybody, as you said, it's one retail. Everyone wants to give that experience. And one of the critical things is the delivery, the logistics. And I think the online retail obviously started off with that because that was the only way to deliver. The offline came into the game much later. They got into the logistics space, but it now it looks like logistics is kind of probably the most critical component of experience, because there is no other way to reach the customer. I mean, how do you deliver something? Today, the 15 minutes and the 6 minutes is happening only because of the dark stores or because of the the logistics strength. So is this how it's going to be? Is this what it is? And how are the retailers going to manage this puzzle?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, and I think Saravana nailed it as well. Getting product closest to the customer, right? I think that's the first and foremost thing, right? I think, and again, if you look at the products as well, FMCG, which is fast moving consumer goods, they absolutely make sense. I mean, the reason they are FMCG, it's your bread and butter and everything else that you need, and it should be available when you need it on demand. And it should be just, in the old days we used to run down in street or whatever it is and buy and get back. It's very similar, right? And that's the kind of expectation that's all coming back to. So get product as close as possible. Know your inventory, right? Inventory plays a big part. Right? A lot of retailers, you gave an example, who are struggling to even complete their fulfillment promise, where they are taking 6 days, 10 days. It all comes down to how far is the product from the consumer, right? It all comes down to the inefficiencies in the processes and the logistics dependencies that we have got across different type of products. So once you start changing and playing with those, no doubt, no doubt, absolutely no doubt, you will get that a lot quicker. Many retailers, one of the trends that they're doing, why fulfill only from one warehouse in the whole country or a warehouse by a state? You got stores. Stores are your mini warehouses,
Yes.
right? You got a product. Get that product out to your customer, in that vicinity as soon as possible. Pick in store and deliver it to the customer. They may not want to come into your store to pick it up, but pick it up from your store and get it out. So I think that's where the trend is getting, right. Yeah, whether it's a dark store, whether it's a standard store that is open, get that product, have that ring fence of your product or whatever it is, whichever channel can serve faster and in a more convenient way, open those channels up.
Yeah, I guess, as you said, like the way we have one retail, I think the store is no longer a dark store or a merchandising store. It's a store, and
Absolutely, it
it
is a
can
store.
do a whole lot of things today, and I think that's going to be the success parameter, and especially reaching out to the customer or delivering it to the customer. But when you
Absolutely.
talk about the offline retail, even kind of having this perception that there is a problem there, or is it really going to thrive, is it really going to survive the online scare? uh, what do you think are the specific advantages, or the major reason why the offline retail will thrive, will survive, and will grow? What is the reason? And of course, the revenge shopping and the need to have some kind of an amusement is always going to be there. But is that all, or is there anything we're missing there? Saravana, what do you think?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. Saravana.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Go for
over
it.
to you,
no,
Naresh. I
no, no,
can
Naresh,
chime
No.
in.
Go ahead, Saravana. I think
All
it's
right.
the same.
Sure. I mean, for the previous point, Pavan, I was actually thinking about this logistics and all, right? I know RDEP is into enabling the store team members leverage handheld devices to effectively, drive the operations, so to say, right? And things like that are changing at a store store team member level. in the India parlance, the entire store employees. So educating them, and then I was actually telling about the store layout is not it's totally disrupted, right? Probably if I can structure it, shopping, then the order pickup, then the dark store. So how do you manage these three ratios, so to say? And there is a huge opportunity for disruption and leveraging tech aspect of it. Coming to this question, can you please repeat the question? Sorry, I was still having a backlog.
No, no, I was just saying, what really is going to help the offline survive and thrive? Is it just the amusement, and the availability, or is there anything more?
Yeah,
What should they focus on?
absolutely. I mean, if I were to wear the hat of an angel investor, one of the things I noticed is cost of acquisition for an e-commerce still is very, very high. Customer acquisition. From a metric standpoint, can they acquire a new customer, or can they bring the customer? Even to bring the customer back to e-commerce portal, it takes a lot of effort, right? In terms of money, in terms of various activities and all. If that could be addressed, then there is a compelling need for offline stuff. Similarly, during COVID, one of the interesting stories was the PVR Inox chain. The stocks plummeted. Who will go to the movie theaters? Then what happened? Now if you see, the stocks are like really growing up, scaling very high. Of course the market itself is high, but PVR is still having that alpha factor around it. What it also happened is, Manish Sabharwal, he says this very beautifully. During COVID only, there were comorbidities in various businesses. Those with comorbidities sort of unfortunately went off, but those who had that the secret sauce or the stamina to still run, they have become stronger and stronger. And hence a lot of single theaters shut down, and then PVR is what it is. And then it has become very, very experiential, not just from the entire going to theater aspect of it, to celebrate some interesting movie out of it. Just an anecdote out of it.
Yeah,
First one would be
absolutely.
definitely the business metric out of it, for sure. And then the second one is, what else can we give other than just the shopping experience per se, which means the stuff. IKEA, which everyone had a doubt, will it survive or will it be the same way in India? It's a great case study. Even on a Monday morning, it was crowded. So such a interesting case, and it is also on one side of Bangalore, all the way out there, but still it is crowded. Decathlon in India, because they have this experience, so you go there, you also, it is a community driven shopping out there. So these are things which cannot be replaced. OTT will not kill movie theaters. Likewise, online will not kill the offline store. There are a bunch of other things also, but I believe the coexistence, in fact it was earlier about competition, then they became more like a co-operate competition and cooperate out of it. And right now it is a wonderful coexistence that will happen, which will be mutually beneficial according to me.
Right, right. Naresh, you want to
Yeah,
add?
I think I agree, Pawan. I think up to when you continue to have those compelling reasons,
Yeah.
right, to come out of the convenience of your lounge and be out there, right, and have that tactile experience, the touch, the feel of the product that you're buying, imagining it, trying it on, and up to when you continue to do that, I think, and use that data that you got, leverage that data that we are getting from our online channels, know your customer, turn it into their personalized experience. All of a sudden, you will see that customer will keep coming to your shops, right? For them it really wouldn't matter, right? You're giving that same experience, you're giving that same personalized experience, more rather. They will continue to shop in the physical stores.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's true, and I think even we there's Pankaj who's written about why offline retail will always have an upper hand. I think it's the experience. There is nothing else which will make it stand out. Having said that, I mean, experience again has got multiple uh, aspects, multiple facets. What kind of experience is required at this store, and what kind of experience can they really offer? Because when you talk about a store or when you talk about an online to begin with, the online system, the ecosystem knows who's the customer. You go there, you log in, and okay, fine, this is my customer, so I know what to offer, because there are algorithms which are working out there. But what can an offline retailer do there? And that's the challenge, perhaps. How do I really offer what my customer wants when the customer walks in? I really don't know. I mean, I don't even know who this customer is. So, probably you know the customer only at the counter when the bill is going to be paid.
Yeah, I think you're so true in that, right? First and foremost thing, I think I know there are some questions and hands being raised. First and foremost thing, is I think first barrier is remove friction, right? Make it a seamless experience, right? Whether you would remember even in the Kmart days, the mobile pause and all that, remove friction, serve your customer as soon as possible, in the way, take the payment in the way they want to do, all those stuff, have product ready, they want to try it on, here it is, easy returns, all those things that you want to do. Once you remove friction, obviously leveraging that data, and as you said, online it's very easy. Customer is logged in, who they are. There is so much that we can know. So it doesn't stop us from knowing our customers. Have those loyalty offers, have that personalized experience based on, as soon as a customer comes, you look up your customer and straight away you know about them. They know, their lifetime value, you understand how important they are for you, right? There is so much of data that we can leverage on, that may not be that you can get straight off, but as soon as they contact you, as soon as they're talking to the store associate, a team member, you give them that personalized experience that they're looking for. And there are many such ways where you will continue to draw them into your stores, no doubt about that, Pavan.
No, right. Yeah, I mean, yes,
Sorry,
Saravana.
Pavan.
Good.
No, because our common friend and a thought leader in himself has been showing symbol of one of the political parties. So I thought, should we give him an opportunity?
Yeah, Ramanan.
Hey, thank you so much. Hey, it's been a very interesting conversation. Uh, there are a couple of things that I want to add. It depends on the category in which the retailer is. That drives whether the customer is going to be in person, or is it quick commerce, or the engagement mode. It depends on the category in which they are. A high-fit fashion retailer would like to keep the customer for as long as possible, because they're going to get their endorphins up and running. Whereas the grocery is going to kind of quickly serve the customer and move on to the next customer. So what we have to look at is, what category are we serving, and that kind of determines the right engagement model for that.
True. I mean, engagement is going to differ. Yeah, absolutely, Ramanan.
Thank you.
Engagement is going to, the definition is going to be different for each of these segments. The grocery, it's like the time, perhaps. Quick checkout is like probably the most important thing. Of course,
Sorry, Pavan.
maybe a
If
different
I
topic.
can,
Sorry,
sorry,
just
Pavan.
one
I
point,
mean,
Sarvana,
go
just
ahead,
one
yes,
point is
Pavan.
just adding on to this, the convenience at the store is it gives rise to another problem, the pilferage, you know, because these are the two ends, and I think that's the struggle of an offline retail. How do you really manage pilferage and still provide convenience? Whether it is grocery or it is lifestyle, I think the pilferage problem remains. So yes, Saravana, you were saying.
No, I was actually, I just wanted to, Naresh and rest of the audience out here, just wanted to tell who is Ramanan. Ramanan is a principal architect at Loaves, one of the, and he was also our colleague at Future Group. So I always would look up to him for anything innovation. He would either bless or curse that innovation at a very early stage.
Yeah.
So that's Ramanan.
So,
Ramanan, good to hear from you.
yeah. Naresh, actually, even before you guys at Kmart, ripped us apart, Ramanan had already done that with us thoroughly. So, yeah.
Very nice
So,
meeting you, Ramanan.
yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
I
yeah,
would
you
probably
were
let Naresh take a stab at it. Shrinkage, pilferage is a big deal, and
yes.
I would love to hear more from Forever New specific segment as well, because fashion segment. Over to you, Naresh.
Yeah, I think that's certainly a big problem. But to answer Ramanan's question, Raman, you're absolutely right. I mean, category plays a big part. That's why we touched on FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods. How close you can get, and volume retailers, whether it's a supermarket, department store, they always want to be able to serve customer as quick as possible, right? So that they can go on to the next customer. Because for them, it's volume. It's the volume, less profitability, and the only way they thrive is with volume, and volume is with fast speed, convenience. And you're right. I mean, on the other side, a luxury retailer, or when you go to buy a car, you got all the time. You're gonna depart quite a bit of cash. You want to immerse yourself in the product. You want to see yourself. How will that fit you? How will you look in that product? Likewise, so that whole equation changes completely. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely, in that space. Now, coming to the
Yeah.
question that Pavan, you brought up from a shrink and pilferage perspective, no doubt. And that's where dark stores are doing a lot better from an e-commerce perspective. The only reason the dark store is they're coming as close as possible to the customer, being able to promise that delivery, but at the same time, the actual customer doesn't go. So the challenges and the problems that we've got associated with the shrink, you generally don't see. What comes in stays there, and what goes out is only when you're fulfilling a customer sales order. So generally, you are 100% right on every single unit that's left behind in that dark store or in a warehouse. So they are a little bit distant from that problem. But when you come to a standard store, I mean, this is a challenge that we all retailers live with, and no doubt, the improved efficient processes, technology is playing a big part in this. You look at RFID. I mean, RFID tags, have become part and parcel of a number of retailers. There was a time when we would see would I put a 3 cent RFID tag on a 50-cent product? Do you really want to do that? I mean, we are way past that. The benefits outweigh the cost. The soon you come to know that there is a loss in product as soon as it walks out of the store. And some of the experiments you would remember that we did, straight away, it first of all, it updates inventory. That product has been lost. You will put controls in place that what is required. So a lot is being done in that space. So obviously efficient. Gone are the days where a retailer would do only once a year stock take. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
can't imagine, army of people walking into a store, closing the shutters,
Absolutely. Yeah.
scanning every product, counting every
Yes.
bean, right?
Yes.
It's just wave of hands,
Yeah.
robots doing that life a lot simpler. And now, I mean, I was talking to another technologist, now away from RFID, nano Bluetooth, nano BT is playing a very big part in this technology. I don't know how many of you have heard of it. I mean, nano BT has become such a big part now. Some big
Yeah.
retailers are tapping into it. The tag looks as big as RFID tag or even smaller than that.
Yes.
Your Bluetooth access points are talking to it. So you even know where the last merchandise was sitting, right?
Yes.
Continuously you're reading about it, right?
Absolutely. And
So
that's extremely seamless. Extremely seamless.
extremely seamless. So technology, I mean, we can't stop it. That will continue to happen, but you certainly can make it harder.
Yeah.
And as soon as you know that there is a stock loss, you're updating your systems so that you don't annoy or inconvenience or bring inconvenience into the other customers who are coming all the way to shop with you, or you're going to fulfill their orders from an online perspective from that store.
Right, absolutely.
I was actually on a lighter note, Naresh, 2018-19. Pavan and his team comes over. I was having that high pedestal chair of head of innovation future group. Pavan comes and says, okay, here is this entire, the same, right? Online tracking in an offline store. And Pavan's tech was Bluetooth.
Yes.
Remember Pavan? And I could see
Absolutely.
now when you said nano Bluetooth,
Yeah,
Pavan was like
I'm
full of like,
yeah,
it's like,
it's
you know,
it's a
vindication
redemption.
out
Yeah,
there actually.
absolutely,
Deja
Redemption.
vu. He was
absolutely.
thinking of,
Deja
I've
vu.
talked about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So even I
Technology
was
has come a
asking
long
question.
way. Technology has come a
Exactly. I
long
was
way,
asking who will
Pawan.
turn on Bluetooth. I think Ramanan is also laughing his heart out actually. And
It's
Naresh, we did
unbelievable,
this. Go
right?
ahead, go ahead. Naresh, we did that experiment, you remember, on the self-checkout using
I
video
know.
analytics
I
and
know.
all.
I know. We did
Yeah,
a lot in
and
that space.
a lot in that
But
space.
but
And
Naresh, tell me one thing. There is obviously a lot of technology which is coming in. There is a RFID which has been there for some time, and then the robots came in. The nano Bluetooth is coming in. There is
It's
the
coming
the
in now.
camera, the camera thing which is there. Do you really think the retailers, especially the legacy retailers, are one able to kind of think ahead and adopt some of these technologies, because this is something which is very new for them. I mean, they haven't done this. That's one problem perhaps. The second thing is, does their margin even allow them to kind of come up with these technologies, implement these technologies? Because I think these are some of the bigger challenges than technology being available per se, because it's available, it's there. I mean, people know there are new things which will keep coming up. But the challenge has been, how do you really sell? Because they don't have the margin. I mean, and we know that's the problem. So, what do you think?
Look, I think the answer is in the efficiencies they gain, right? The process efficiencies, the having that product available for their customer, which is a lot more important than losing a customer completely, right? A lot of these benefits outweigh. I gave you that example of a 3 or 4 cent tag on a 50-cent product.
Right.
It is becoming a reality today, right? There were times where you would think, oh, the 4 cent RFID tag can only go in a product which is more than $20 or $15, right? Gone are those days. I mean, you just want to make sure that it's on every product and you got seamless experience for your customers, and making sure that your shelves are full and customers always getting that product what they have come in for, right? So
Absolutely.
and technology is in that hype circle, right? I mean, Pavan, if you think about it, I mean, as you said, you were thinking of Bluetooth in 2018, 2019, right? And probably it was the cost effectiveness wasn't there at that time, but today when you compare it and see it,
Yeah.
it is past that point, right?
Yes.
Things that were way expensive have changed. Today, a Bluetooth tag is almost the same price as your RFID tag, right?
Yeah.
And the technology and then the Bluetooth receivers are far less cheaper
Yes.
than the actual
Yeah.
RFID readers. Now
And they're
you
not
think of it, right?
line of sight. Yeah, they don't depend on the line of sight like
There is
RFID
no line of
does.
sight
Yeah.
required. You're spot on. There is no line of sight required, and passive nano BT
Yeah.
tags get charged up, and they remain charged for half a minute or a minute. So you
Yeah.
can even see that merchandise walking around. Which part of your store
Yes.
is doing well?
Yes. Yes.
Why is that product not visible? So the retailers, the value that they see out of these techs will far outweigh that one-off cost that they are going to implement. So
Yeah.
it is going to become
Agree.
reality. And the example that you gave of the larger retailers and legacy retailers, they will have to catch up,
Yeah.
right? They will have to do. I mean, you look at Macy's in US. I mean,
Yes.
Raman is from Lowe's, right? Look at the categories that are converting to RFID.
Yeah.
These retailers are actually forcing some of their
Yes.
suppliers that if you do not supply us with this tag or with this technology, we will not do business with you.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean,
And
absolutely.
Pavan, if I
It-
can
it-
put a small spiel onto this, right? Um, again, I'm talking from an India story, Naresh, on this pilferage, especially at the checkout. Two things here, right? One is tech, the cost of tech adoption, and the ROI, right? All these are an interplay out of it. I believe the smart receipt was a here and now, which RDEP is definitely acing that out. Smart receipt or the digital receipt, whatever we call it, not just from a pilferage, from a customer experience, customer feedback, upsell, cross sell. It is happening a lot. Is it still there, Naresh, as a trend, smart receipt, or is it?
Oh, absolutely. No,
Hmm.
absolutely. It is.
From a pilferage standpoint?
It does. It does. I mean, there are different ways of. Absolutely. I'm sure. I mean, RDEP has implemented that already in Kmart. Yeah, isn't it, Pavan? And I think it's absolutely there.
Yeah, I think these are all deterrents is what we feel because there, as you rightly said, Naresh, there is no foolproof solution for pilferage because there's some data I was reading. Most of the pilferage, rather the bigger percentage chunk of pilferage happens because the team colludes with a customer, a rogue customer. There is a in-store team which is kind of working and making this happen. I think that's true with most of the pilferages, even in the banking sector, the financial sector, where the data leakage happens because of the team inside. So nothing much which can be done. You can bring in as many deterrents, as many real-time updates and triggers so that you are always kind of ready to take action. I think that's where Bluetooth probably is a great technology, no doubts. And it does a whole lot of things, not just the pilferage, but the inventory and stuff like that. But yes, I mean, we forgot we were talking about the the offline retailer dying. We went into the pilferage because that's a very interesting technology, very upcoming.
Which is an important part for the offline retailers, isn't it?
Yes,
which is a very important part because it adds to the cost of their survival, right?
Yes, I think
with the rising rents.
Yeah.
Right, everything else. This is a cost that you don't see. E-com platforms don't see. They see other costs, as Saravana touched on earlier on. But these are some of the costs that they touch on.
Yes. So yeah, I think
Pavan, Sundar had a question. I think his hands pained and then he lowered his hands. I think in case we want to give him a choice.
Yes. I think we should give some time for questions because we are almost closing. Sagar, you would want to maybe take some questions?
Yeah. Please. I mean, Sundar, I've.
Sorry about that, gentlemen. No, thank you very much, Saravana and Naresh and Pavan for the opportunity. A really quick question here. I've loved this conversation today. It's so many new angles here, and the thought leadership you're bringing to is greatly appreciated. Taking this global, and maybe a quick one from each of you. Looking globally, who do you see in terms of companies, anywhere around the world, who is creating a really consistent engagement, across offline and in person between offline and online.
Okay, you want us to take names? Okay, so what I have heard, I really don't know too many names in that sense, who have really done well in both the worlds. Perhaps Walmart is one of them, who have tried a lot of things, both at the store and of course the online. But I really don't see too many organizations who have been successful at both. So I think the challenge lies, because either they are a legacy player and they have been, struggling to adopt new technologies and trying to figure out what to do and how fast and uh, specific issues to be handled, or they are a primary D2C player, an online player, and who's who's gotten into the offline space and has struggled to kind of figure out how the offline world really works. So we've seen a lot of D2C players in India in the recent past who have started in the last maybe 5 years, 6 years, and then have realized that they need to set up stores, and they have started setting up stores, but they have struggled a lot. I think the first point which I brought in was how they're two different experiences. So they struggle with the experience, providing the same kind of a shopping experience. And the second thing is they are not able to thrive in both the locations. So they're very good at D2C, or they're very good at offline retail. So I really think Walmart, for me, the cases I have read, perhaps was at least an early start. They did a lot of experimentation, but apart from that, I really do not think there is anybody else, unless Naresh, what do you think?
No, I think a lot of retailers are trying hard,
Yes.
right, to be true omni-channel retailer. A lot of strategies have been adopted, they're adopting, and it's not an easy journey, right? It's not at all an easy journey to blur that line between digital and physical world. You gave an example of a retailer. Sephora is another business who's really doing good in that space, right? And I think the inspiration comes from retailers like Amazon as well, right? Now they are purely digital if you see it in a way, and they've got a lot of dark stores. But
Yes.
I think they are spoiling the experiences, right? So they're
Yes.
setting that expectation. They're raising that bar. Return is so easy. Just go into your account, log in, create a return label, bang, somebody will come and pick it up for you. You don't even need to do anything about it, right? Here is a label, print it. So they certainly are driving that side of experience. But true omni-channel, a lot of retailers are trying to be in that space, and no doubt, because they're trying, we will be there, right? Every retailer is trying to be best in that space. Today, most of them are multi-channel, as we call it, right? I am in mobile channel, I am in social commerce, I am on an e-commerce, I am in physical store, but giving that true same experience across, they all are trying their best to be in that space.
True. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a process which is still not settled, and it's not yet stable. Nobody has found the right answer. And I think
Yeah.
everyone is struggling and going through their own problems. Saravana?
On a lighter note, I was just thinking, I would have voted for Amazon if not for Amazon Go being declared a bogus.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Amazon Go is a different segment. Ramanan pointed out what segment. I think that makes that's how they decide, what needs to be done. Amazon Go is a very small store. I mean, it's a pop-up store really in that sense. So I don't think they can be even considered as a competition. Way back, Naresh, when we started the platform, and it was Bluetooth, and that's when Amazon wanted to go with the Bluetooth technology, and Amazon Go came in. And it was like a validation for our product. Nobody was ready to listen to us then. And when Amazon came up with this, they said, yeah, okay, this an Amazon Go kind of a product. That's how people started, at least. So I can't really be ungrateful to them. They helped us position our product, but I think it's a very narrow kind of a thing at the moment, at least. It's a very small experiment, and very expensive experiment.
It's an expensive experiment, but you need such experiments to be continually done, so that as you said, I mean that really gave support to what you were trying to do from a Bluetooth perspective.
Absolutely.
I mean, it makes us all visionary. So we start seeing things differently. Yeah,
that's true.
There's a question in the chat from Sunil. He wants to know which type of store is better off staying only in the physical world. I think we touched upon this a bit earlier, but what type of store is better left in only physical world, which may not have a good future in, say, the online world, if I understood the question correctly?
I don't think there is any store left.
I think, I think it's very hard for any type of business to be fully physical, right? I'll give you an example here. I mean, in Australia, we had a DIY chain, Bunnings. It's a one big roof under which you can just buy anything from do it yourself to whatever you need. Even I mean, we in Australia, we can't imagine not visiting Bunnings as a retailer, but
Right.
even they are playing a very big part in being online, right? And especially they pushed themselves during the COVID periods to be there. So I think whether it's a furniture retailer to whatever we are talking about, they can't ignore the reach of e-commerce and digital platforms that have on them, right? Um, even food delivery service, you said about 6 minutes, right? I mean, in the local chai walas, pan walas, I mean, if
Yeah,
they are
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
known on, if they are known online, yeah, you
Yeah.
name it, their customers
Yeah.
are coming from wherever, orders are coming from wherever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this gig economy is making it possible. You got people picking it up and taking it in that 6 months, 6 minutes, 10 minutes delivery, whatever is required, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's leveraging from it. So not sure if anybody can be purely physical retailer. There might be some very specific industries where you will do, go from one part of the city to the other side to just go and see that, and probably to reach there and see the door closed or whatever, or they don't have your product. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. So Naresh, on that point, just one maybe a question which will help us sell. I mean, in that sense, what does a retailer really want from a vendor? When it comes to providing this kind of an experience, providing an omni-channel solution, because there's so many solutions today, and as you rightly
Yeah.
said, there's so many technologies. What do they really want, or what do they look for? Or how do we really kind of tell them that yes, we are the right people who can help you, or the merchant, the retailer should feel that yes, I think this is a vendor, or this is the type of vendor, or should it be like a divided thing?
Yeah, I think every retailer would want their technology partner, solution provider, to be able to walk in their shoes. No single retailer is the same. And you will see, I think someone touched on the nuances, right? I mean, there will be differences between the
Yes.
retailers. You can't have one solution that will fit and address every retailer. So whether we may say it's a mobile POS, what is it? You're going to scan and queue bust and make customer pay, but there will be subtle differences between.
Absolutely.
So everybody's looking for a partner who is ready to customize or make their 80% fit product or 70% fit product, right, to what they really want to see. And that's what is a big differentiator for them, right? So if every retailer started giving you exactly the same smart receipt, exactly the same experience, you would say, there's no difference. So that's subtle differences, and a partner who can work closely to keep that experience the same, that brand feeling, I think is what most of the retailers are looking for. I mean, that's how I would see it. I don't think there is a one single fit solution, especially in the physical world, that you will say, yep, let's just fit it in, and we all look paint, we all can paint blue walls or white walls, and we are the same, right? It is not the case.
Yeah,
It is not the case.
absolutely. I mean, I'll definitely use this piece of this clip, this video clip with our investors, because this
There
is
you go.
what we've been trying to tell everyone, that this is not a space where you can go with a standard product.
Yes.
You need to customize. You need to know what they want and what. So, one thing which we keep saying, that every retailer has their own set of processes and, of course, requirements. But we cannot go as a product and say that you use our product and follow the processes the way we have defined. We cannot be doing that. I mean, the retailer has already established something over a period of time. They know what works for them. So the technology needs to kind of adapt to that and not the other way. Yeah, I think that's really good to hear for me. And yeah, I think if there are no further questions, Sagar, is there any other questions? We are already over the time.
Yeah, no, I think we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
So,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, first of all, thanks to everyone again. Friday afternoon, Friday evening, taking time out and asking questions, keeping it participative. That's really good and grateful. And yeah, that's the end. Thanks, Naresh. Thanks, Saravana. Thanks, Pavan. If you want to say
Yeah.
anything.
No, I think I'm
go for
really it's a great discussion, Naresh. After a long time talking to you
Yep.
for such a long time, I think it is a privilege.
No, it's a pleasure being with
Yeah, it's
some
a
of the
pleasure.
great
It's a
industry
pleasure.
experts in that
Thank you
space.
so much. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Saravana. As
Thanks,
always, you're
all.
always there. So just because I speak to you, every other day, doesn't mean this is any less important. Yes.
There you go. He's
Thank you
wearing your
so
T-shirt.
much.
Yes, yes,
I'll
yes.
come and
Anything
claim
for a
mine.
T-shirt. Yeah,
Yeah.
Very soon. Coming soon, Naresh, for you.
Yes.
All
Thank you
Brilliant.
so much.
Thank
Thanks
you,
a lot.
gentlemen. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to all the
Thanks,
participants
everyone.
for
Yeah. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
joining in.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.